Have you been to the area's premier radio-controlled hobby shop and raceway? Underground Raceway and Hobbies in Great Northern Mall has 2 indoor tracks for racing at every experience level. Don't have your own car? No problem. You can rent one from us. When you're ready to get your own, we've got an on-site hobby shop with everything you need, including all the popular brands. Underground Raceway and Hobbies has kits for land, sea, and air. Cars, boats, planes, you name it. Come see us next to Dick's in the Great Northern Mall in Clay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MotoOption Supercross. Riding for Underground RC. Number 5, Tyler Lang. From Scottsdale, Arizona, riding for Panini Motorsports, number 51, Payson Johnson. From Shawnigan Lake, Canada, riding for Panini Motorsports, number 24, Colby Eaglin. From France, riding for Safe Moon, 2018 Supercross champion, number 7, Alexis Leclerc. From Costa Mesa, California, riding for Phil Ski and Snowboard, your defending Supercross champion and current points leader, number 1, Braden Carter.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in. It's round 16 of MotoOption Supercross live here on Start Your Systems. My name is Kellen Brower, ready to bring you guys the action tonight here at Denver. And boy, oh boy, we have a fantastic race night lined up for you. But before we even get there, we have some drama to talk about. We are deep in this championship, only 2 rounds left in this 450 Supercross season. And finally, it seems like the dam has burst a little bit in terms of the friendly camaraderie that we've had in the series so far. So before we get there, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about kind of our qualifying times and where everything's at so far. Let's get qualifying up right here on the screen. Now, qualifying was delayed a little bit here today, so apologies that we're a little bit behind schedule, I guess, here tonight so far. But Payson Johnson has gone fastest so far, at least. Qualifying is going to end here in a few minutes, so there still might be a last-dash effort for some of these guys to get in there. But Payson Johnson at a 48.976 has gone a little over 0.3 faster than Braden Carter's 49.335. Jacob Hubbard, Bryce Whelan, and Alexis Leclerc inside of the top 5. And remember, Whelan is currently leading that 250 East division, so he's jumping over here trying to play a little bit of spoiler for this 450 class, which actually might have some implications that we'll talk about here in just a moment. As we look at the 250 West division, though, these guys are back in action, and there is a chance tonight that both titles get clinched, but there's a lot of math involved that we'll have to kind of dissect throughout the night as well. First of which, though, this 250 West division has Ryan Pinkerton at the top at a 50.375, so basically a half second faster there than Johan Bordeaux. You got Seth Shirley, Casey Cochran, and Luke Magnetti in the mix as well, and those 3 right there are your top 3 in the championship, with Cochran holding on to a slim points advantage. Let's talk about that championship standings, though. First of which, we're going to look at the 250 West standings, because the 450 class is where the drama really is right here. So Casey Cochran, 4-point lead entering tonight. Luke Magnetti, winner last time out when we raced 2 rounds ago in Seattle. No, 3 rounds ago now, I guess, Seattle. Gosh, it's been so long, but Magnetti was able to get the job done there. Pulled it down and then pulled it even closer at the East-West Showdown in Atlanta. So now he's only 4 back of Cochran. Shirley, though, he's only 16 back. He could still get in the mix here. But, of course, once you get down to like Balzer, Bordeaux, you're starting to look at some guys that could be mathematically eliminated from championship contention tonight. Just need to be 26 points down or more in this championship after this evening, and they would be mathematically eliminated. And, of course, everybody Maxime Vanderbeek on back has already been mathematically eliminated as well. All right, let's get into some of this drama. 450 class. You may notice that Braden Carter, who won last week when we were racing in Foxborough, doesn't have that big of a points lead, at least not as big of a points lead as he had. It's down to just 4 points. Alexis Leclerc sitting 4 points back of Braden Carter. Colby Eaglin and Payson Johnson are both still mathematically alive for this title, but it's a very real possibility they both get eliminated here tonight in Denver. But Leclerc, definitely a lot closer than he was to Carter leaving Foxborough. What happened? Well, here's what happened, folks. 2022 Supercross NA Round 15 penalties. Alexis Leclerc protested Braden Carter in the 450 class main event. Carter cut the track, dodged a slippery corner, and was able to triple quad the rhythms. No one pushed him outside. He did it on purpose to gain an advantage, is what Leclerc had to say. And then Payson Johnson also protested Carter for the same infraction, cuts the track, and basically wins the race because of it. We'll dissect that, but here is just a raw speed at what happened. So Carter goes deep into the first corner. He's going to go around a couple tough blocks there and then get a drive into this rhythm section straight up to be able to triple and then quad. So he's going to quad to the backside of this. He eventually would get into second place behind your race leader there, but they protested him, and then Carter was docked 5 positions for intentionally cutting the start to gain an advantage. So these race results from last week, Carter winning from Johnson, Lang, Leclerc, and Sellen. Carter now drops to 6th behind Colby Eaglin. Johnson gets the win last week in Foxborough, and that is why this championship has actually closed up as opposed to separate like we saw from last time out in Foxborough with Carter winning and gaining those points on Leclerc. So let's talk about this for a second because I feel like we need to actually break this down. First of which, if we go to right here, coming down the start straight, you have the 5 machine right here coming in behind Carter into the first corner. And Carter's going to go wide, and he's just doing this to try to get a drive down this straightaway right here, right? So he's going to go wide. He's going to miss some of these tough blocks. And here's the 5 machine passing Carter coming out of the first corner. So if you want to talk about gaining an advantage, he didn't actually gain any time by doing this. But obviously what people were upset about is that he got a drive to jump into this rhythm lane. But if I pause it right here, he's jumping into a hornet's nest right here. It's very lucky he even was able to get by this. As you can see, everybody kind of splitting the gap. Jeremy Smith going to the right, Logan Leitzel and the 5 machine, which I believe is normally Walter Gebhardt, but I don't know who's running the 5 right now. Very, very close. But obviously what he gained was by going wide here and getting a drive, he was able to jump into this rhythm section, which only a handful of guys did. The leader, the 5 machine, a couple others, and that is where the advantage is given. So again, you could say this is a dumb penalty because he didn't actually gain an advantage in the first corner, but it's what happened after that he gained an advantage. I think, unfortunately, this is clearly the gloves are off now. If you look at where Leclerc is up the inside here going in the first corner, I mean, he went down all by himself. This is him tucking the front end and pushing all the way out to Jeremy Smith. So, I mean, he did his own damage. It had nothing to do with what Carter did there. And then I don't even think we see Payson Johnson in the same area here going into the first corner. So 2 guys that protested that more or less didn't have the nights they wanted to, and eventually Johnson gets the win and Leclerc gets on the box because of that protest. So we have drama, and I forgot Lang is 5. You're right. Apologies. I was so used to Gebhardt with the 5 over the years, but Lang is 5. We have this drama though. 5 position penalty for intentionally cutting the start and gaining an advantage. Again, you could say that he did gain an advantage by going off the track to get a drive in the rhythm section. You could also say he didn't gain an advantage because he actually didn't pass anybody going to the first corner. But in the end, that is what the Racecraft Gaming track crew decreed. And thus, we have just a 4-point deficit now for Leclerc in the championship going into the final 2 rounds. Drama is aplenty. So let's get in and get ready to drop the gate here tonight in Denver, because this is going to be wild, to say the least. That now we have some real beef kind of brewing. I felt like Carter and Leclerc were kind of playing it more even-keeled and respecting each other. And now that a protest has come in, I briefly talked to Carter earlier today. He's not happy about the situation. He also has quite a few teammates, but so does Leclerc. Leclerc has a lot of the Panini Motorsports teammates that I think are going to probably play on his side a little bit. Obviously, Payson Johnson, who is Leclerc's pseudo teammate, so to speak, on that team, but was, I guess, a pseudo teammate. He's not anymore. He's now jumped ship to another program, but I think their friendship kind of played into that. They both actually, wanted to see Carter get hurt in this championship. And there you go. You have a penalty for going off the track at the first corner, essentially. Carter did go on to win that main event after 20 minutes of race, but again, penalty pushes him back to 6th place. So now, getting ready to go racing here in Denver, we have 4 points in it between Casey Cochran and Luke Magnetti in the 250 West Division, and 4 points in it between Braden Carter and Alexis Leclerc in the 450 class. So again, championships could be clinched tonight. It'd have to be massive, massive point swing, though. Leclerc would have to have a terrible night with a Carter win, and Magnetti would have to have a terrible night with a Cochran win, but it's seeming very unlikely at this point. And now we just get to watch these final 2 rounds and really kind of wrestle our hands together a little bit and enjoy this show that we're going to have for you guys here tonight in Denver. So let's get going. reconnect back to the server. And let's get our moto names up here so you guys can see what race we are currently on. Which, pressing all these and I don't need to. Need to do that one. All right, 250 Heat 1 coming up first. And that as well. All right, so 250 Heat 1 out on the track. They're out doing a bit of a parade lap, reconnaissance lap right now. So there is Seth Shirley, a man who is very much still alive for this championship fight. Dash McMillan, Brandon Nygren, Ryan Swanson, Seth Harnischfeger, Lucas Schwartner, Brandon Larson, Buddy Parker, Jeff Cooper, Tristan Powell, Blake O'Brien, Holden Cody, Alec Horn, Matt Cromie, Hayden Stevenson, and there is your championship leader, Casey Cochran. So we're seeing Cochran versus Shirley in the first heat race of the night. And these guys, like I said, just on a bit of a warm-up lap right now. So we'll get going here in just a moment. There's your fastest qualifier, Ryan Pinkerton. In just a moment, we'll have gate drop and get off the racing action here tonight in Denver. All right, so 250 Heat 1, top 9 will transfer to the main event. I don't believe this is actually the race, is it? Or am I missing something? Not sure if we're waiting on something or what have you, but yeah, I don't think this is the race. We're just watching these guys spin some laps here. So we're going to get going here in just a moment, waiting on race directors Jeremy Konauer and Tyler Lang to give us a restart. But of course, the pressure is on the Adept Creative Co. UndefinedLifestyle.com, number 20 of Casey Cochran here tonight. He has watched this championship lead slowly dwindle, and very similarly to Tyron Tomic in the 250 East Division, it is hanging on by a thread now after it was out to quite a large advantage at one point. But for Cochran, this is all about trying to swing the tides back in his favor and maybe go into the East-West Showdown with a little bit of a cushion. But of course, Magnetti, Shirley, Bordeaux, and the rest will be looking to keep Cochran off the box here tonight and gain some championship points back in their favor. So we're just waiting it out now. I still don't think this is the race. I think, everybody's just kind of hanging out. Now riders in the chat are even asking, is this the race? Just kind of waiting. I'm not sure. Maybe they're having an issue with the server or something like that, but we'll probably have Casey Cochran take us around this racetrack because it looks like he's spinning some laps. He just went down. He'll get up and show us the way around here. Ooh, look at that, quad in. Didn't even know that was possible. And someone on a 250F almost did it. That's pretty much a guarantee that somebody on the 450 is able to do it. So as soon as I went on board with Cochran to see what the track looked like, he started messing around a little bit. So who else can we look at? Who's in the lead? Blake O'Brien, maybe Matt Cromie shows us around. I will not be at Denver this weekend, but I will be at Salt Lake City. So anybody going to the SLC, let me know. Always cool to meet up with you guys in real life. All right, 250 Heat 1 coming to the line. Where is that championship leader, Casey Cochran? There we go. He's going to be lined up right in the middle of the inside, right next to Alec Horn. Seth Shirley to his outside. Let's see how they come out. Top 9 go through. 250 Heat 1 right now. Well, Alec Horn on the 59 timed the gate. He is going to lead them all into the first corner. Kind of tucks the front wheel a little bit, but he's going to come out in front of Pinkerton. Pinkerton gets stood up, and Cochran goes down. So Casey Cochran laying on the ground in the first corner. He's going to get going in basically dead last and has it all to do. Trying to fight his way forward, and he's going to go down again. Oh, absolute disaster here early on for Casey Cochran. Going to get going up now second to last, but he still has now a lot of time to make back up. If he had stuck with his teammate Pinkerton there, Pinkerton's already into 11th. Cochran's got not only positions to gain, but time to try to make up. And this is not where the number 20 machine wants to be early on, trying to get around harness figures. Going to do so there. Oh, no worries, T-Lang. Thanks for letting me know that. Had a couple people from the East Coast sneaking into the scripts. So they just got it ironed out. But back to our race leader, Alec Horn. Out front, got a tremendous start off the gate. Pretty much timed the gate perfectly. And was able to come down the inside, grab that hole shot. And after some contact with Pinkerton, actually opened up a bit of a gap behind him right away. So Horn leads. It's Shirley in second place. Holden Cody running in third with Matt Cromie in fourth. Ryan Pinkerton already inside the top 5 with Nygren in sixth. Buddy Parker in seventh, but might lose that position as around the outside, Lucas Schwardner goes into seventh. Parker going to go down back into ninth now. So going through was Dash McMillan. 341 Slowy Films limited decal machine into eighth. Buddy Parker now running in ninth. You got Swanson in 10th. He's going to get kind of pushed off the track, and here comes Casey Cochran. Trying to weave through these guys and not get taken down in the process. There's some contact between Michael Mudge there on the 761 and another rider. But Cochran making some good progress so far up into 12th. Going to try to go down the inside of Mudge, but the 761 shuts the door. You got the 137 just ahead of these guys as well. Oh, Cochran, back tire! And slides out. Going to fall behind Kerr, but then Kerr lands on Mudge. So Cochran's going to go by them both and dualies over the triple with Blake O'Brien. So Cochran is up into 10th now, and P9 right in front of him. So now he's about to knock on the door for the final transfer spot. And that's a tremendous turn of events for the 20 after the way things are going. Going to quad up into the corner and get the final transfer spot. Well done. He can hold it into this next turn, and he will. So Cochran now through into transfer. He's got to try to hold on for the rest of the race, of course, and pretty much everybody else has already opened up a big gap ahead of him. It is still Alec Horn leading this heat race. 59 MotoAction Suzuki rider. Off to a great start here, and Shirley has not really been able to close that gap down. So these guys all looking to go over table triple quad there. By the looks of it, I thought for sure the line would be on-off triple-triple, but these guys liking to bust that quad into the corner. We'll see what the 450 guys are doing. Shirley trying to close that gap down. Horn had a slight slide out there, but picked it right back up. And then into this first section, they're going 2-3-3. Alternate would be 3-2-2. But it looks like that 2 in is just the right amount of speed to carry into that triple afterwards. So Horn leading them down through the whoops. We got 2 minutes left on the clock, plus that 1 lap at the end. Shirley not making many inroads. Holden Cody there in third. Pinkerton's up to fourth, but he's dealing with Matt Cromie on the 504 Phil Ski and, or 503 Phil Ski and Snowboard Honda. Pinkerton gets the line clean right there and opens up a bit of a gap. Cromie made a mistake. Back into 5th place he goes. Then we got Nygren, Schwartner, McMillan, and still Cochran in 9th. So at the very least, Cochran going to go to the main event where he's at right now, so long as he stays on 2 wheels. But gate selection could be critical here. We've already seen how chaotic that first turn is. A long left-hand sweeper. You really want to be down the inside if possible. And ninth place finish here for Cochran will at best get him 17th gate pick. So he's hoping to maybe notch off a few more positions here, as well as not go down. It looks like we have a change to the lead. We do. Shirley has taken the point. Not sure what happened to Alec Horn, but the 23 Boots House Yamaha takes over the race lead here in Denver. Most likely coming to 2 laps to go this time by. We got 43 seconds left on the clock, and these guys are not quite dipping down to that low of times. Holden Cody, second place right now. Kind of keeping Seth Shirley honest. Not letting the 23 machine sneak away too much at the front of the field here. And you got Ryan Pinkerton now up into 3rd after the Alec Horn crash. So Horn has found his way back into 4th place. Did Shirley just go long after the whoops? Or what just happened right there? Something happened, because Cody's definitely a lot closer. Down to 1.4. Holden Cody trying to go for this heat race victory. Gonna have 1 to go next time by as they work through the sand section right there. Tricky little sand section this week. Some ruts and some rollers. Always throws you around a little bit. So Shirley taking the white flag out front. Trying to hold on for the heat race victory, but Holden Cody wants to close that gap down on the 381 with 1 lap to go. Pretty standard racetrack here tonight. Not a lot of separation as Shirley lays it over big on the Supercross triple. Into the whoops. Got to get that front tire to land right on top of that 3rd whoop. Pretty nice run there for Shirley. Tucks inside. So he's going on off as I expected with the triple and then triple to the inside right here. Oh, front end tuck in the rut. That's going to allow Cody to close right up as they go through the sand. Here comes Holden Cody. Is he going to go for the lead in the last turn? Showed a wheel, but Seth Shirley in and out of the final turn will hold on to take the win by 2/10, but he did cut tough blocks. Cody might get that win on cuts. We'll have to see. Matt Cromie will cross the line in 3rd place ahead of Nygren in 4th, Pinkerton in 5th, Alec Horn slipping back to 6th, and Cochran able to slide up into 7th. So we'll see what the TRT is to compare as Dash McMillan crosses in 8th and Shortner just makes it in P9. Ryan Swanson down here in 10th with O'Brien, Cooper, Larson, Kerr, Mudge, Irwin, Harnischweger, Parker, all not going through as well. So we'll wait for those cuts to come through. A couple more riders crossing the line right here. Oh, not quite yet. Waiting to see if Shirley gets any penalties for cutting that last turn, and he does. The win goes to Holden Cody. So 250 Heat 1 goes to the 381 of Holden Cody on the Proline Designs Honda. Shirley dips back to 2nd place in the end. Cochran will end up in 7th, and the TRT in this one 7:03.9. So 7:03. What we got to remember be the difference between Cochran going to the line 13th or 14th. A little bit later on. Let's go Dashy from Corbin Slatter in chat. He's stoked for his buddy Dash McMillan, who I believe did not make it through in this one. Oh, no, he did. He was in 8th. So shout out Dash McMillan, the Slowy Films Limited Decal 341. I believe that's his first career main event. Well done. I know it's spelled coat, pronounce it, but you want me to pronounce it coat. I pronounce it coat forever. And Holden himself actually reached out to me maybe 4 rounds ago and told me that it is actually pronounced Cody, like like Cody Dar or whatever. So I take these guys' word for it that they are not lying to me about how to pronounce their own names, and he was very generous in saying, like, I apologize for getting it wrong all these years, and he's like, oh, no worries, like a lot of people say Coat, so it's not a big deal, but yeah, so it's Cody, at least according to him. All right, 250 Heat 2 coming up next. Jump back in studio with you guys here for a moment. What is going on, folks? Kellen Brower in the booth. 250 Heat 2 coming up next. So this one we will see Luke Magnetti, Mom Spaghetti, in this one. And cheers, folks. Cold as the Rockies because we are in the Rockies here tonight. Having a nice beverage. Yeah, say it like Cody James. There you go. Good to see Cody James in the chat here tonight. Hey, Heckman. Don't have to worry about not qualifying this week, so Heckman didn't give it a run here earlier on tonight. Not gonna lie, Coat sounds cooler than Cody. Yeah, I'm not sure why they choose it as a family name to run it as Cody instead of just Coat. But yeah. Got Joey Arico from the AMS racing tonight on the Moto Action. All right, so we'll keep an eye out for Joey Arico. Brody Scrage says Tomac Championship or not. Yeah, I mean, I think so for sure. Be cool to have him wrap it up in his home state. I think the fans will definitely be stoked. Kind of a poetic justice for Tomac to wrap it up in front of his home crowd because the only Supercross championship that he has to this point, he wrapped it up in front of no fans at Salt Lake City in 2020. So to finally have like a adoring crowd, I guess, to really give him the championship roar that he deserves, that'll be kind of cool to see. Not many people get to wrap it up in front of like legit home fans like Tomac has. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, so who's on the line for this one? We got Chris Post, Maxime Vanderbeek, Austin Bridges, Tyler Blowers, Aaron Rockefeller, Zach Fisher, Christopher McPherson, Cody Cooper, Ryan Anderson, Sean Hambrook, Carter Greer, Tyler Shields, Johan Bordeaux, Brandon Wolf, J.R. Reyes, Jack Gatlin, Ezra, I don't remember his last name, Tanner Thorson, Luke Magnetti, Joey Arico, there is the man himself, and Trevor Spencer and Dominic Paolini going to the line for 250 Heat number 2. What else is going on in the Chiggity chat room? Cuff MXS says, best YouTuber out. Love the content, Kellen. Oh, I love you, Cuff MXS, for tuning in. All right. Back into the racing action. I'll commingle in the chat with you guys here in just a little bit. We got to see what happens off the start. Well, we saw what happened with Cochran. What's going to happen with Magnetti down the far inside, just inside of Chris Post, Johan Bordeaux, Vanderbeek, Arico, and the rest of them. Here we go, 250 Heat 2 right now in Denver. Oh, Vanderbeek and Chris Post getting together hard as Bordeaux will lead him through the first corner, and you see how beneficial that inside line is. Magnetti, who is just tucked in behind everybody, kind of came into the corner in like 10th spot, comes out in second place as everybody pushes wide. But it is Bordeaux, the fast Frenchman on the Panini Motorsports number 40, who leads them through into the whoops on the first lap. Tricky set of whoops this week. They're small, or they're short, I should say, not small, but they're tall. So a short set of whoops, but very tall and kind of hard to get on top of. You see guys kind of hopping through them a little bit. Bordeaux going on-off triple here. Trying to hold on to the race lead is Magnetti's got a great drive in the sand. He's going to go down, try to get the lead away from him. Bordeaux just runs wide and lets him have it. Luke Magnetti to the front. Uh-oh, Bordeaux back to the inside. Shows Magnetti a wheel. It is not over yet, though. The 40 machine wants to keep his championship hopes alive here tonight. He enters this one, I believe, 20 points down in the championship. So he has to simply outscore Casey Cochran, and he stays alive. But he can't lose too many points to Magnetti either, or Magnetti would mathematically eliminate him. So Bordeaux obviously just going to go for the win here tonight and at least take an opportunity to win the championship down to the final round for the Frenchman. But Magnetti looking solid in his heat race here, unlike his teammate Cochran. Going down twice early on was the 20 machine. A good little battle, though, at the front. Bordeaux just is not letting Magnetti go. And now down the inside, trying to show him a wheel again, but Magnetti slingshots back around the outside. And I wonder if Bordeaux continues to follow this lap. If next time through, he won't be so generous with that inside lunge. but still close between the front two here in 250 Heat 2 from Denver. We'll stick with it for a moment and see if anything breaks between either of them. Both of them kind of hopping through the whoops. It's a Cowie rider, I believe maybe Trevor Spencer on the 57 BPC Kawasaki that's behind them. And here's the difference in lines as well. You're seeing the quad into the corner by Magnetti, but that inside line by Bordeaux, if he could just kind of hook that rut a little bit greasier, I think he might have had a shot at a pass. Now we'll see this time through, though, if that inside line down the finish line jump. No, Bordeaux slides out as Magnetti actually jumped off the track. So Trevor Spencer going to jump into frame. He goes down. That will allow Matherly through, no, Cody Cooper, excuse me, on the 312. And the 62 of Maxime Vanderbeek also goes by. Spencer remounts alongside Joey Arico, the MotoAction Suzuki, number 828. So Arico, fresh from the amateur class, trying to make a main event here tonight. Looking solid so far. Tyler Shields on the Phil Ski and Snowboard number 86 is back here, I believe in 6th position it is, or maybe 7th? Yeah, 7th behind Arico. Tyler Shields, remember, finished 2nd place in the 450 class at the Anaheim opener and really was not the same guy after that. So tough season so far for Shields outside of that podium. Running in the transfer positions right now early on in Denver. Jack Gatlin running in 8th position with Carter Greer right now in the final transfer spot in 9th. John Hambrook and Chris Post are trying to close it down as these two go to battle a little bit. Up and over that finish line jump. And Post trying to attack the 51 of Hambrook. But they're all chasing this man, Carter Greer. Just kind of riding a lonely race as Jack Gatlin goes down. Gatlin hitting the ground puts Hambrook into the final transfer spot. Sorry, bro. I download every single skin in the skins thread and that are DM'd to me. So I'm not going fishing through Teams threads to find skins. So I apologize if I didn't, get your skin if you had sent it to me or if I just installed it wrong or something. But I download every single thing that gets sent to me, which is a lot because people love to change their skins throughout the year. Probably have had, I don't know, the most different update packs I've had has been like 6 or 7 different update packs from guys, and it's just like, come on, man. Figure it out right from the get-go, please. Battle for the lead. Bordeaux and Magnetti side by side. Let's see who gets to drive. Oh, contact, and they're both going to go down. Off the side of the track and into the race lead goes Cody Cooper on the I-Spec, number 312. So Cooper and now Magnetti and Bordeaux in a freight train here with Vanderbeek right behind them. And Joey Arico closing up as well as, Bordeaux gets taken to the ground by Vanderbeek. That was kind of just a weird crossing of lines and a slow entry into the corner for both riders. So Bordeaux goes from battling for the lead to 7th in a hurry here. Magnetti now has to settle back into 2nd place as Cody Cooper is suddenly leading. And this I-Spec team, man, it's been a kind of weird year of Cinderella stories for them. We had the opening round of 250 East was won by Elliot Person, his first career 250 main event. You also had a round a little bit later on in that East Championship, also won by another I-Spec rider, Carson West, for his first career Supercross main event victory. And now, Cody Cooper, who we have not really seen much of at all this year, kind of coming out of nowhere, and might win a heat race here. So it's at least a step in the right direction to make it a 3rd different first-time winner for the same team in the same year, which would be quite incredible. But we also have to keep in mind what those TRTs are, and a couple of crashes have maybe affected that. 703 was Heat 1. What is Heat 2 going to be? Magnetti's not close enough to make anything happen, so Cody Cooper, as long as he gets through these last couple straightaways clean, is going to take this thing home. Triple into this corner. Kind of hopping through the sand a little bit weird, but ends up working out just fine. Over this double jump. Through the final corner, and Cody Cooper takes 250 Heat 2 in Denver. Magnetti comes home in second. Vanderbeek just went down in third. That's going to promote Joey Arico into third place. Tyler Shields will get fourth. Trevor Spencer fifth. Bordeaux ends up in sixth. Vanderbeek comes through in seventh. Carter Greer up to eighth. And Chris Post battling with Sean Hambrook for the final transfer spot. But Greer went down. So Hambrook just has to make it to the line here as Post going to cross the line in eighth. And Hambrook goes to the main event in ninth. McPherson and, heartbreak for Greer, who had it until the final two turns, ends up in 11th. Brandon Wolf, Jack Gatland, Ezra, Tanner Thorson, Dominic Paolini, Tyler Blowers, Aaron Rockefeller, Zach Fisher, Ryan Anderson, J.R. Reyes, Austin Bridges, all headed to the LCQ. Wait and see if cuts affect anything in the top 9. Looks like Chris Post lost a spot to Hambrook, but they both still transfer through. And Magnetti gets the win on cuts. Holy smokes, 5.23 seconds of cuts for Cody Cooper. And Magnetti gets the win, and the TRT was 2 seconds slower, which means Cochran goes to the line with 13th gate pick, while Magnetti goes to the line with second gate pick. So that's just something to note right there. But now, back into the drama spectrum a little bit here, back in studio first of all, but 450 Heat 1 coming up. And this is going to be the first offering for us to see whether or not Carter and Leclerc end up in the same heat race and whether or not they're going to be friendly with each other anymore. If you're just joining us, Braden Carter, the winner of last week's Foxborough Supercross, was docked 5 positions for illegally going off the racetrack in the first corner. As a shout out to Hayes BB for subbing to the channel. But Carter getting a 5-position penalty after winning the main event at Foxborough, ended up 6th place. So ended up losing points to Leclerc, who got 3rd place. And suddenly it's a 4-point swing or a 4-point gap between the two of them, with Carter still holding on to the championship lead. But the person that protested Braden Carter for that first turn infraction was Alexis Leclerc, as well as Payson Johnson. They both did protest. But clearly, kind of gloves are off a little bit here between the championship combatants. So it'll be fun to see what happens in these heat races as a bit of a preview for those main events. All right, what's going on in the chat room? Alexander Martinez says, I love you, man. Thanks for your time of making these videos. Keep up the good work. Well, I love you, Alexander. Good sir. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you're enjoying the show so far. Jay-Z Joker says, when do nationals start? Well, usually the Race Factor Gaming National Championship will start the week before the Real Life National Championship. So nationals start on May 28th for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. So the Wednesday before that, which is May 25th or 4th, I think would be the first round of Race Factor Gaming Nationals. So we'll see. All right, who is on the line for this 450 heat race? Payson Johnson's here. Casey Ohlert, Bob Joe, Devin Davis, Braden Tharp, Braden Castellaneta, Trevor Burns, Jay Turner, Bryce Whelan, Barb, 377, I don't know who that is, Chase Blakely, Trevor Burns, Nick Tomasunis, Bryce Whelan, Dylan Copeland, Trent Adams, Rogan McIntosh, Braden Carter, Hayden Speck, Matthias Janis, Kevin Frizaka. So, no Leclerc versus Carter drama, but there could be Leclerc versus Johnson drama because Johnson was one of the riders that did protest Carter last week. And of course, Johnson now on the iSpec Honda team, but he calls it the Paolini Spec team because I guess he's still sort of part of Panini, but on iSpec now. It's all very confusing. These guys jump teams like hotcakes in this game, so no idea who's really what or where. But here we go. Who's going to get that all-important hole shot here? Look at Johnson lining up all the way on the far outside. We'll look at Caden Speck in the middle. He's usually a hole shot master as Carter lines up down the inside. Here we go. 450 Heat 1 right now. Well, Whelan with a good jump. You can see Johnson all the way in from the outside. Make sure not to go off the track in the first corner. But then he got absolutely punted, I think. Or was that somebody else? No, I think that he got absolutely punted by somebody. Was it Carter that punted him? Well, Johnson comes through in dead last. I saw somebody flipping off the track. And now, oh, wow, Nick Tomasunis punts Carter. So Nick Tomasunis punting Carter off the track. And clearly the gloves are off. It seems like everybody versus Braden Carter is what's starting to happen here, which is a little bit unfortunate to see, as Carter's going to go down the inside of Adams there on the 43, but not quite make the pass. So let's keep an eye on Carter here and see if he's still getting tossed around a little bit by these guys back here. Tomasunis lighting up Carter into the second turn there. But I think Carter may have been a reason why Johnson was so far off the track in the first turn. We got riders everywhere down, so just trying to weave through guys here. Oh, got to be careful with everybody cutting down in the corner. Carter's going to case that finish line, jump and go down. So Carter going to have to do it all again. Just made a few passes, but going to have to pass even more guys as, wow, Johnson and Tomasunis are dead last together. So, yeah. The gloves are off, folks. The gloves are off. We're in the heat race, and these guys are already throwing hard block passes on each other. As Carter going to get around Caden Speck right there. He's got to make some serious ground, though, to try to get into a transfer spot. Back to our race leader, though. It's Rogan McIntosh. And here is one of the many teammates that Braden Carter has on the track here tonight and will have on the track with him when we go to Salt Lake City next week for the finale. So McIntosh continues to lead the race. It's Janice who has settled into second place on the 14 machine. Bob Joe coming through in third. And Kevin Frazaka right now in fourth place with Casey Ohlert in fifth. Braden Castellaneta jumping down through the rhythm section here in sixth place. Jay Turner in seventh. Devin Davis in eighth. And then a train of guys for ninth as Blakely gets into the side of Barb. Barb stays up, though, sponsored by Casey. So Casey Ohlert, I don't know who this is, but he's going to go down. So final transfer spot now is Dylan Copeland, but here comes Braden Carter outside, tucking to the inside for Carter into that final transfer spot for the one, and he's got it. So Carter has ascended his way forward, and he is up into ninth now. As, wow, did you see Payson Johnson try to cut inside the pole right there? Oh, and Carter just went down, so here we go. Johnson versus Carter. Let's see if these guys come together yet again. So into the first corner, Johnson's going to swing way to the outside. What is he lining up here? Is he going quad? So he quads in. Yeah, quad to the inside of Carter, and he puts the number one machine down as well as himself. Carter gets turned around, has to kind of take evasive action as Braden Tharp was coming on. Wow. So Tharp and Carter going through the whoops together here. Carter is in 12th. He's got to make some more passes again. What a weird topsy-turvy heat race we've had so far, as Carter's literally in Braden Tharp's rear fender right there. Not able to make the pass stick just yet, but he's got to try to make some more passes. He's got Blakely and Tharp right in front of him, but then a little bit of a gap to whoever's in ninth. I tried to take a peek, but didn't quite see who it was. So let's see. Can Carter fight back and actually make it through out of this heat race? He's running out of time, but some riders are down at the end of this whoop section. He might get a spot right here. It is one of the Adept Creative co-riders, 31 of Devin Davis, as he gets into Carter and they go down. I think Davis stayed up. Yeah, Davis did stay up. But now Carter's in deep trouble as Bryce Whelan's also back here. Copeland went by, Carter remounts. But now the one machine really has a lot of work to do and not very much time whatsoever. 1 minute and 15 seconds plus a lap on the clock. P9 is going down the start straight into the first corner, so he's got to gain at least 10 seconds here. So you got Jay Turner in 8th, Blakely in 9th, Wheel in 10th, Davis 11th, Tharp 12th, and Carter coming through the rhythm section in 13th. Trevor Burns is 14th, Copeland is 15th, and then Johnson's still trying to bust the quad line back here. So he's in free air, which means it's quite easy to do that if he's just trying to hit it lap after lap. But man, this is gonna be gnarly if Carter can't make it through the heat race and has to go to the LCQ. That is clearly the story right now. Back to our race leader. It's still Rogan McIntosh, and McIntosh might do his teammate a huge favor here by getting back to the line before time expires. He's got 21 seconds to do it and 3 turns to go. Let's see if he can make it happen as the 14 of Janice is trying to close it down. Got 12 seconds. Down to 10 seconds. I think he's not going to get there. I think the white flag will wave as these lapped riders are getting in the way, and they're going to take McIntosh to the ground. Terrible job by Lap Traffic 377, and the white flag will wave, so McIntosh didn't get back to the line. And where is Carter? Carter coming through the whoops now behind Tharp. Is still in 12th. He's going to gain a couple spots. Riders down. He's into 8th. Carter with a huge burst up the inside to get by Tharp and squeeze down that gap. He's going to land on the tough blocks right here, so got to be careful. But he's now up into 8th, so he's in a transfer spot as Tharp and the 91 of the 61 of Casey Ohlert get together behind them. So Carter's into 8th, and that is a transfer spot. He's got to stay there, though. Cannot crash right now. Back to race leader Rogan McIntosh. Through the sand, kind of hopping through there. Up and over this double jump. And how about it? Rogan McIntosh, winner, 450 heat number 1. Janice second. Bob Joe looking to get third. Castellaneta looks solid in 4th. Evan Ferzaka in 5th. Trent Adams will make it through in 6th. Bryce Whelan in 7th. And just make sure these last 2 turns are good and Carter can make it through in 8th. Sounded like another rider was down, but it may have just been after the finish line jump. So Carter scrubs it in, and he will indeed go through in 8th. Oh, we got riders getting together. Wow, Trevor Burns on top of Casey Ohlert. Burns cases the double up the inside. Tharp cuts the track. It's going to go to Burns by 6/100ths of a second, but Tharp cut the heck out of the track in the last turn anyway. Not sure what happened with Burns and Ohlert, but they were not thrilled with each other. Devin Davis ends up 12th. Turner, Blakely, Johnson back here. And yeah, Tharp ended up with some cuts, but it all stays the same. McIntosh, your big winner here in 450 heat number 1. 653 TRT Johnson, or excuse me, Carter will go to the line 15th or 16th. We'll see which TRT is faster to determine where he will end up. All right, 450 Heat 2 coming up next, which means we'll see Leclerc's turn at this racetrack. See what he's doing around the Denver circuit and whether he can fare better than what we just saw out of Braden Carter there. All right, so great to have you guys with us. 300 live viewers getting ready to watch 450 Heat number 2 here in Denver coming up. And going to be fun to watch how this shakes down with Alexis Leclerc going to the line, as we just saw what happened with Braden Carter. Will Leclerc have similar struggles, or will it be a much smoother heat race for the 2018 champion? About to find out. You heard Payson was racing 250. What happened? Well, I mean, he's still pretty close in terms of the championship points to getting 3rd in the championship, so it doesn't make sense for him to drop down at this point. So, yeah, I don't know why he would race 250s. Is Cody Cooper a New Zealander? That's a good question. I don't think it's the same Cody Cooper that everybody is thinking it is that's racing in this series, but maybe I'm wrong. I really don't know. Cade Miller asks, is RF doing GPs this year? I really don't know the answer to that, but they did just have a forum post a few days back where they asked people to pick which GPs they would like to see in a 12-round series. So it's seemingly very, very likely. All right, so we got Dylan Cavacuti, Dominic Saulnier, Caleb Hall, Tyler Lang, Jeremy Siebold, Colby Eagland, Alexis Leclerc, Chase Donovan, Ethan Gerst, Enzo Butigny, Dakota French, Jack Haley, Tanner Rogers, Austin Bear, Daniel Mills, Jeremy Smith, and Jacob Hubbard, all going to the line right here. Who's got to tell Jeremy Smith he's wearing the wrong helmet? That boy needs some milk. All right, what's going on? What else am I missing? I am good, agreed Jay. How are you? Good, sir. And look at that quad. The quad triple triple, I guess, is the line some of these guys might be taking. Crazy. Them boys are fast. All right, who's going to come out on top here of 450 heat number 2? Dominic Saulnier lining way down the outside. Jack Haley right here in the middle. Looks like Leclerc on the 7 is right up the inside. So we'll see how he comes out of the gate. 450 heat 2 right now. Well, Haley came out pretty good. His teammate D-Mills actually led them into the corner, but they both drifted a little bit wide and allowed the 78 of Hubbard to come out with the whole shot. But it's going to be Haley to the outside of Leclerc on the inside into turn 2. The 7 goes to second place off this little triple jump and over the Supercross triple as everybody funnels in behind the fast Frenchman. Hubbard leads, Leclerc second, Haley third, and Eagland on the 24 machine in fourth. But Eagland off the track after the whoops goes down. Look at this, Haley quadding in, but really can only triple after that, so not too much gained if you do that. Scrubbing over that double jump. And Leclerc being pushed a little bit here. Haley's not letting him go. Jeremy Smith has moved into fourth behind these guys as race leader continues to be Jacob Hubbard. Look at him scrubbing that triple to the corner. Everybody's staying low right there. Tripling out of this corner into the Supercross triple. And our 3 leaders on the screen together right there. Hubbard's starting to open up maybe a little bit of a gap though. Oh, Leclerc went long, and then Haley actually jumped off the racetrack. Oh, and Hubbard went down, so Leclerc takes over the race lead. So Leclerc going to the race lead. Hubbard slipping back into second with Jeremy Smith now moving his way into third place. Caleb Hall in fourth. Jack Haley sliding back to fifth. Boutigny sixth. Lang seventh. Dakota French in eighth. And Dylan Cavacuti rounding out the transfer spots right now. So Eagland, after that crash in the whoops on the first lap, done well to recover. He is in 10th. And putting some pressure on Cavacuti for this final transfer spot. Oh, but they land on each other and they both go. So Cavacuti's going to get going. Oh, and then gets taken down again, but he was in the back of the 29 of Gerst right there. Jeremy Seabolt's also back here. Is that Eagland down right there? Oh, yeah, Colby Eagland. Third in the championship coming into tonight. Very realistic possibility he's going to be mathematically eliminated if things don't turn around here. As Seabolt getting together with a couple guys mixed in back there. Go back to the front. See, it's still Leclerc halfway through this one. And stark opposition to his title combatant, Braden Carter, in this one. Leclerc really just taking advantage of a good start, getting into the lead early. Yes, Alex, I did mute up my mic. I was saying goodnight to my daughter. So apologies for the cut in broadcast. So Hubbard, even after that little mistake, is kept Leclerc close. 50.3 for the 78 machine versus a 49.6 for the 7. Oh, I didn't realize that. Leclerc running the number 1 machine on his pit board. But actually, I think he's done that for a while. I don't think he realizes that he doesn't change it because he's number 1 in EMF, I believe. So I think sometimes he just forgets to change the pit board. I mean, I definitely have done that a few times before, where jumping back and forth between EMF and RF. Like, there was a year I was number 38 in RF, number 94 in EMF, and I just got it wrong a couple times and ran 38 in EMF and then 94 in RF and stuff, so it happens. Not a whole lot of other real action going on, except maybe back here for this transfer spot. Frank Jackson, Austin Bear in a line with Daniel Mills. It's Jackson who's in the final transfer spot on the 32. Kind of hopping through the whoops right there, but just got out in time, and then they go down behind him. Literally everybody stacks up into the corner. Seabolt was involved. So Eaglin moves up into 11th now behind Austin Bear. But going to case this right here. And his teammate Gers is going to go jump to the outside, get landed on. Is that Jack Haley or is that... No, it's D-Mills back here. Can't believe that. Had a good start for the 15 machine. Rider down. The lapped rider, though. So Leclerc coming to the flag right here. This is going to be a longer TRT, but more laps done. So this is going to be the faster overall race right here, because Leclerc is going to check in with about 10 seconds left on the clock right here, which means he's about 10 seconds faster than what McIntosh was able to do in the previous heat race, which means that pretty much locks in that Carter is going to the line 16th here tonight with that 8th place finish in his heat race. We'll have 16th gate pick in the main event. Leclerc holding on to a steady lead out front. Jeremy Smith and Caleb Hall battling it out for 4th place here. Smith was a little bit further up ahead, and then I think crashed his way back here as they dualies over the Supercross triple. Ooh, Smith, I thought he was going to run into the back of Hall, but then Hall just went straight on over the berm right there. So Smith back into 4th. There's Jackson 6th, Boutigny 7th, French 8th, and Lang now up into 9th with Eaglin right behind him. So a couple of guys that are trying to stay alive mathematically in the championship here tonight, finding their way into the mix. So actually, Lang has been eliminated. I apologize, but still trying to maybe get into 4th or even 3rd in the championship before this thing's done. Kind of hopping through oddly right there. You can see Eaglin cut well out of the corner, and now they're almost going to run into each other. Up to 8th now is Lang, but he just got high centered in the rut. And Dakota French, I think, hit his back tire. So Eaglin able to skirt by into 8th. It leaves for the time being. We'll see how it all sorts out. Meanwhile, Alexis Leclerc takes 450 heat number 2. Hubbard will cross the line 2nd. Haley will get 3rd. Smith in 4th. Hall in 5th. Jackson 6th. Boutigny 7th. Eaglin and Lang right behind him. So these guys are going to gain some positions here at the end, or are they going to stay put? We'll see as Eaglin went way outside, elected to just jump on off. So Lang kind of closed up there for a moment, but I think these guys are going to hold steady, but Boutigny goes down. And I think Eaglin just barely jumped over top of him. So Eaglin goes through in 7th. Lang will make it through in 8th, and Mills, with the gift of a lifetime right there, goes through in 9th. Rogers rounds out the top 10. Boutigny 11th, Bear 12th, French 13th, Seabolt will end up in 14th. Gerst, Donovan, Saulnier, Cavacuti was your running order. Let's wait for those cuts to come in, see if anything changes. All right, so Leclerc holds on for the dub. And, oh, D-Mills got a landslide of cuts, 5.74 seconds. So in the end, Tanner Rogers qualifies for the main event on a 350 here. So the Phil Ski and Snowboard Honda rider, another one of them in the main event. He goes to the main event. Boutigny, first man out, though. He and D-Mills going to the LCQ. And speaking of LCQs, they're coming up right now, folks. 250 LCQ getting ready to go on the gate in just a moment. Back in studio with you guys, Kellen Brower. Want to remind everybody, by the way, that this broadcast tonight is brought to you by the folks at MX Locker. That is the marketplace for motocross. Head over to mxlocker.com if you are looking for any sort of gear, bike components, or even purchasing a motorcycle. mxlocker.com has a lot of cool things for you guys to check out over there, and we just want to thank them for backing the broadcast here this week. So thanks to MX Locker, and visit them at mxlocker.com. All right, LCQs, baby. I'm stoked. Are you guys stoked? I feel like it's time to get stoked, right? Because this is going to be a lot of fun. See how it all shakes down. Got my beverage. Finish that up. And ready to go. All right, what else am I missing in chat? Who is your favorite rider, says Peanut Head. I don't really have like a favorite motocross racer in real life. My favorite rider in sim, even though he doesn't race professionally anymore, is Nathan Zaworski. Julian Crawford says, do you think Malcolm will get a main win next Supercross season? Yes. John Bauman actually asked this question as well and donated $5. So shout out John Bauman. Thank you so much. Asking, will Malcolm get a win next Supercross season? I actually thoroughly believed he was going to get one this year. I'm a little bit skeptical of it happening now, but we shall see. There's still 2 rounds, so maybe make it happen. But if he doesn't get one this year, I would fully expect him to be one of the guys that I would put at least in winning contention for next year. Maybe not full-blown a winner, but yeah. We will see how he does in 2023. All right, going to the line of this LCQ, we have J.R. Reyes, Zach Fisher, Ezra Lewis, Alex Kerr, Brandon Wolf, Austin Irwin, Dominic Paolini, Ryan Swanson, Carter Greer, Tyler Blowers, Ryan Anderson, Seth Harnischfeger, Blake O'Brien, Tanner Thorson, Jeff Cooper, Christopher McPherson, and Jack Gatland. All right. LCQs, only 4 people go through, and I have a feeling based on this lineup right here that there's going to be some guys that really have or feel like they have a shot at making their first main event of the season right here, right now. 4 go through. It's the LCQ in Denver. Now the 212 got to the corner first, but he went down. A couple others went behind him. Alex Kerr is going to get the whole shot. I don't know how he landed that as he cased the bejesus out of that triple in, but going to the lead is Jack Gatland. Second place now for Carter Greer, with Kerr settling into third. Greer off the side of the track, kind of enduro manning his way through that section, ends up in third as down behind them. One of those many stock KTMs that I have, so J.R. Reyes moves into the final transfer spot as Gatland cuts the track. So Reyes into that final transfer spot, but that's Tanner Thorson right behind him, putting the pressure on. Thorson down the inside. Still early runnings. I don't think he's going to force the issue there just yet. They turn around and go up and over this double jump. Land off of that down the inside line and over the finish line. So early runnings, J.R. Reyes is still in that final transfer spot on the VSR Honda. Carter Greer running in third place. Privateer life out here with Jack Gatlin on the Connect Visual KTM in second. Alex Kerr on the Jack Daniels Racing machine out in front. That is the 48 of Kerr. They charge down through the whoops. Ooh, J.R. Reyes got it wrong, but Thorson goes down. Reyes made a mistake stepping onto the table. Thorson went down trying to avoid him, and making the pass on both is going to be Aaron Rockefeller. So Rockefeller, the Underground RC Suzuki number 54, now goes into the final transfer spot. And boy, oh boy, that was a turn of events. Out of nowhere, J.R. Reyes just got that step on wrong, and now Rockefeller lays it over. Reyes is going to go back to the final transfer spot. So it changes just like that again. And now Rockefeller has to respond. Our front three, bit in cruise control. Rockefeller down. Kind of nose picked the triple into the corner there. And off the bike immediately. And then right behind him, the same thing happens to Jeff Cooper. And that leaves pretty much Ezra Lewis as the lone challenger right now for J.R. Reyes. But I think J.R. Reyes' own worst enemy is himself at this point. got to try to dial in these remaining probably 4 laps to go. Looks like Reyes is settled in kind of nicely. Carter Greer, Jack Gatlin, pretty close battle for second, but it's Alex Kerr who continues to lead the race. Kerr, kind of known around the community as the stat man because he does a lot of cool statistics with updating how many race winners there are and sign of lap times and other things like that. So cool to see him still out here grinding the sim life, racing strong and trying to make yet another main event here tonight in Denver. Looking good so far, but that's not going to look too good. He cases the quad in the corner and goes down. Gatlin goes by. Greer kind of lands on his tire, but he goes through. J.R. Reyes goes around the outside of the track right there. Rejoins still in that 4th position, but suddenly Alex Kerr not so safe of a position here for a transfer spot as he settles back into that 3rd place, just ahead of Reyes. Double, triple through there, just keeping the momentum flowing. Triple out of that corner. And it's stagnated a little bit. Looks like Kerr might have just a little bit more pace in hand than Reyes. So nothing really changing just yet. We have a little bit under a minute, plus a lap still left to go. And Kerr nearly got that sand section wrong, but a nice job to corral his Jack Daniels Racing machine back together underneath him. And they continue to run nose to tail. Ezra Lewis still back here lurking in 5th place, just hoping the riders ahead of him run into some problems. But it's remained pretty steady so far. Just as I say that, J.R. Reyes goes down. Ezra Lewis cases going into the corner, but he's going to go to the final transfer spot. So now Reyes, as he gets going and gets high-centered on the berm there a little bit, he's got to figure this thing back out again. But Lewis is streaking away and the whoops going the other direction. Okay, and Ezra Lewis batting down the hatches a little bit here. White flag coming out this time by for the 830 stance machine. As he takes the white flag, and he's got about 5 seconds in hand back to J.R. Reyes, so as long as he stays off the ground, he should be good to go. Meanwhile, after Kerr crashed the lead away, Jack Gatland, the British rider on the Connect Visual number 50, has taken over the race lead and is looking like he is set sail out front enough to the point where no real pressure from behind out of Greer. So Gatland has a couple more straightaways to go, and he will win this LCQ. Doesn't get that line, though. We're kind of closing up, but I think he's going to run out of time. 2 turns left through that sand section. Smooth as silk. And up and over this double jump. And your winner, 250 LCQ, Jack Gatland. Carter Greer will end up crossing the line in second, with Kerr coming home in third. And Ezra Lewis, through the final turn, makes the main event tonight. He's stoked. With a 4th place finish in the last chance qualifier, Lewis to the main in Denver. It'll be Reyes ending up in 5th, McPherson, Rockefeller, Larson, Harnischweger, Flowers, Swanson, Fisher, Irwin, Wolf, Thorson, O'Brien, Cooper, Paolini. All of those guys will be headed home early tonight. They are out of the night's show program. So just waiting for a couple guys to finish off here. Just make sure those cuts don't knock Ezra Lewis out of his 4th and final transfer spot. And confirmed, he is through. Actually, behind him, 73 of J.R. Reyes had 2.48 seconds of cuts, so didn't work out too well for the 73 machine there. But it is Gatland who takes the dub in the LCQ. All right, 450 LCQ coming up next. We'll jump back in studio real quick. Kellen Brower in the booth here for Start Your Systems for round 16 of MotoOption Supercross in Denver. And we have 3 races left to go here tonight. 450 LCQ coming up next. And those 4 riders that transfer through will make up our 22-rider field for the 450 main event after our 250 West main event. The last time this year, we'll see just the individual regions. 250 West main event here tonight in Denver will be the last time it'll be West or East. The East-West Showdown next week in Salt Lake City, of course, will combine the 2 coasts. And then take it outdoors, folks, where they combine it all together. 250 East and West come together for a 12-round national championship. So we getting ready to see the last of the split coast here for 2022 in just a moment. But before we get there, 450 LCQ time, crunch time for a lot of people. And yeah, how's everybody doing in the chat? Am I missing out on anything? Any questions? Nope, nothing really crazy yet. Nape says, nice hat, Kellen. Well, thank you, Napes. Appreciate that. Yeah, Payson is in the LCQ. That's right. We got to take a look at how Johnson will fare in this one. Rough go for the 51 machine in his heat race. Some drama, perhaps, with him and Braden Carter. But either way, it didn't work out in his favor. Shout out to my lovely wife for providing the beverages. Delicious. All right. Alex Rivera says, hey, Kellen, do you like a Eli hometown win with the title? I don't like an Eli win this weekend. I think based on how he chose to race last weekend in Foxborough, he'll be very much of the mind in these last few rounds where it's like, you know, the possibility of Hurlings coming and racing nationals, Cairoli coming and racing nationals. Eli wants to do the double this year, right? He wants to win Supercross and Motocross, which he's never done in his career, you know, in the same year. So, you know, for him to go out there and try to win these last few races, there's nothing to gain so much as he's going to win the title pretty much anyway. So I think you see a more measured Eli Tomac in these last few rounds. Personally speaking, much more similar to what we saw out of him in Foxborough. So no, I don't see him winning this weekend. Personally, I see him winning the title, just not the race. All right, 450 LCQ on the gate. We got Daniel Mills, Chase Blakely, Devin Davis, Enzo Butigny, Casey Ohlert, Dakota French, Nick Tomasunis, Hayden Speck, Ethan Gurst, Chase Donovan, Barb, still don't know who that is officially, but they'll be in trouble for improper naming convention. Austin Bear, Braden Tharp, Jay Turner, and Payson Johnson doing his quad line there. Jeremy Siebold, Dominic Saulnier, Dylan Cavacuti, and that is the 18 riders that make up this 450 last chance qualifier. Yep, the mountains are certainly blue here tonight, folks. I mean, if we're racing in Denver, you got to have some Coors. It's just tradition, honestly. All right, LCQ time. 5 minutes plus a lap. Top 4 riders transfer to main event. Of course, the big talking point is how Payson Johnson does in this one. And will he make it through to challenge in the main event later on tonight? He's got 5 minutes and a lap to do it. Here we go. 450 LCQ in Denver. Yeah, pretty good jump, but he's going to get kind of swarmed by either side of him. Still comes out well, and the whole shot will go to Jay Turner. Turner leads Donovan, Thomas Sunis, and then Johnson trying to slide into that third spot. Oh, man, he put Thomas Sunis on the ground, going down the inside right there. He's going to move into third place. So the 51 machine, good position early on, but does not want to get involved with these guys if he can avoid it. Daniel Mills behind him, almost going down, and then goes off the racetrack as Turner coughs up the lead momentarily to Donovan. Quadding over top of these guys, trying to go to the race lead is Johnson. He's going to skirt down the inside and will get the lead away from these guys. But here's Turner fighting back. But the 51 of Johnson holds on. As a reminder, Johnson, currently 4th in the championship standings, is still narrowly mathematically alive for the championship, but it's pretty likely he will watch that slip away this evening. This is the big line he's doing, though. Swing way outside, quad into the first rhythm section, followed it up with a quad in the next corner. That is clearly how he's running his hot laps, because look at the gap that he just gained. Obviously has to leave the door wide open every lap to do it, but big line when he does actually get it. Johnson now from Donovan, Turner, and Gerst has moved into the final transfer spot, as I think emails may have just went down at the end of the whoops there in the background. It was a Honda rider. Could not quite see if it was the Jack Daniels racing machine, though, as Gerst jumps off the track in 4th place. So Braden Tharp, 53 Adept Creative Co-Machine, starting to close up. Devin Davis is also in the mix. He's actually going to get around his teammate Tharp, who just slid out right there. So Mills, it was him who went down, just picks it up now in 6th position behind Davis. And these two are going to try to fight their way forward. A couple California kids. And let's see who prevails in this fight for 5th in the LCQ. Really, it'd be the best for both of them to focus forward and not try to race each other too much. But maybe Mills wants to just get around Davis and have a clear shot of track in front of him. We'll see how he plays it. Out through the whoops. Davis hopping. Oh, and he goes down and takes Mills with him. Oh, unfortunate turn of events right there. Gerst was off the track, but Tharp went by for the final transfer spot. Now he goes down. Davis is going to jump by. So Davis momentarily takes the final transfer spot. Gerst fought back down the inside. And you also have Boutigny there, the rider out of Belgium, closing in. So Davis into the final transfer spot. Gerst putting the pressure on from behind. Double in, triple after that. Gerst makes a mistake, and here comes Boutigny to the outside on the 185, and he gets it done. So Davis, in the pressure cooker scenario, lays a huge whip off on the Supercross triple, which really boots you up this week. And the 31 machine gets on top of the whoops well, but a kick at the end takes him to the ground. He gets up now behind Daniel Mills, who slots into 6th place as Boutigny goes to the final transfer spot. But Gerst is trying to fight and take that thing away as they've caught Donovan. So Donovan in 3rd, suddenly right in front of these guys, and he goes down and takes Boutigny with him. So that promotes Gerst into 3rd, but then he slides out. Mills has to check up and roll the finish line jump. Over top goes Devin Davis for 3rd place now, with Mills slotting into 4th. You have Tharp right there as well. And it's really all kicking off. That lag brought Boutigny to the ground heavily in the contact there with Donovan. And now you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, pretty much all still nose to tails. We got dualies, trialies off the Supercross triple. Look at Mills trying to go down the inside and goes down. Oh, and he takes Tharp with him, so Gerster on the outside goes back in the final transfer spot. Meanwhile, Johnson has a 7-second lead on Turner. Another 10 seconds back to Davis. And then Gerst, who we're looking at here in the final transfer spot. So Austin Bear and Braden Tharp, a couple of Adept Creative Co. Yamaha riders, trying to close the gap down to Gerst ahead of them. As Bear swings wide to scrub the finish line jump. Oh, look at Tharp jumping out onto the start straight and actually somehow found some tremendous traction to get the turn relatively okay right there. Looks like Turner just fell out of 2nd place, but he'll get up still in that position because he had enough time on Davis. And gosh, these teammates are racing each other hard, and then dualies over the Supercross triple. White flag is waving for Johnson out front, but the battle for the final transfer spot is still on as Bear and Tharp, wow, really getting into each other here. And they're not even in a transfer spot just yet, so you would think as teammates they may elect to race forward a little bit better, but look at Tharp murders his teammate and then immediately rage quits. Or did he lag out? Did his game crash? Did he literally just hit him so hard that his game crashed? Oh my goodness. Well, that will not go over well when they get back to the hauler a little bit later. Dissect the footage of that one. Because those two messing around with each other allowed Gerst to get away, and suddenly they really don't have a shot at getting to the 29 machine ahead of him unless he goes down. It's Blakely who has moved into 5th spot behind, but it really doesn't matter at this point. Johnson goes down in the last turn with the lead, but he will take the LCQ win as the 51 machine goes to the main event. He'll have 19th gate selection, 20th gate pick in that main event will be Jay Turner. Devin Davis makes it through out of this LCQ to get 21st gate selection, and Gerst goes to the main event as well. So Blakely misses out by 4.6 seconds. I don't think that'll be close enough to swing the tides if penalties are applied. Donovan in 7th, Bear 8th, Ohlert 9th, Seabolt 10th, Barb, Tharp, Cavacuti, Mills, Speck, Boutigny, Thomasounis, Saulnier, and I'm still just thoroughly confused what happened with Tharp. Did he eventually time out, I guess? Which would assume that his game crashed. I'm trying to see if there's a timeout in here. Yeah, Braden Tharp timed out, so his game crashed. Wow. Literally hit his own teammate so hard that his game crashed. That's not really the way you want to do it. So Johnson goes through to the main event, and now the table is set. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, main event time coming up here in Denver. Make sure I have my moto timer ready to go this week, and we'll jump back in studio here to preview the upcoming main event. So this is about to be round 9 of 250 West action, and 4 points separate Casey Cochran in the championship lead back to Luke Magnetti in 2nd. It's 16 points between Cochran and Seth Shirley in 3rd, and 20 points between Cochran and Johan Bordeaux in 4th. So 20 points separating our top 4 going into this, but obviously the story there is Magnetti, how close he is to Cochran for that championship lead, and the momentum has been flowing on his side as well. Winner at Seattle. I think he finished on the podium at Atlanta in the East-West Showdown, so he's been slowly chipping away those points at Cochran, and now Cochran has to answer the call here this evening in Denver to try to stop the bleeding and maybe, just maybe, take a little bit better of a championship advantage with him into the East-West Showdown next week in Salt Lake City. You do not want to go into the showdown with a slim margin because there is a lot of things that could go wrong when you put all of the 250 East and West riders on the same racetrack. So we'll see what comes of that. That is our pre-race report, and we're getting ready to drop the gate here for round 9 of 250 West in just a moment. Got a question in chat from Squirrel382, says, first and foremost, love the channel and videos. Keep it up, Kellen. Do you have to pay to race nationals? How do I sign up for nationals? So yeah, anybody that's watching right now, first of all, this is MX Simulator. If you're trying to get the game, you've never played it before, head over to mxsimulator.com. There's a free to try demo. I promise it's nothing like the real game. The real game, there's a lot more cool stuff that you can download, get involved with. But the demo is at least to show you how the physics work a little bit so you can kind of feel it out and see how difficult the game is. It's hard. But we race on MX Simulator, and this is the Race Factory Gaming MotoOption Supercross series. So Race Factory Gaming, all one word, .com is where you want to go. And you can, apply for your license right there. There's a lot of different series that you can compete in. This is the Pro Series. There are amateur racing as well, so you can do open amateur class or 250 amateur class. There's also a novice Supercross series. If you've never raced before, you can race for free in that series. But then any other series that you do after that, I think it's $25 for the whole season to race, and it's like $3.99 a race or something like that. I forget how the math works out, but it's something along those lines. But racefactorygaming.com is where you go to get involved. All right, going to the line for round 9 of 250 West. Cody Cooper, Alex Kerr, Carter Greer, Ezra Lewis, Tyler Shields, Sean Hambrook, Lucas Schwartner, Ryan Pinkerton, Seth Shirley, Luke Magnetti, Trevor Spencer, Dash McMillan, Brandon Nygren, Joey Arico, Holden Cody, Matt Cromie, Alec Horn, Johan Bordeaux, and the rest of them. We are ready to drop the gate here tonight in Denver. Round 9 of the 250 West Championship, with a title clinching moment potentially hanging in the balance. Who gets the all-important hole shot and who wins this round of 250 West? Cochran versus Magnetti, or will somebody else shine through? Here we go, 250 main event in Denver right now. Well, we looked at Horn on the start this time, and he goes way deep into the first corner and down. Seth Shirley rips the RaceFactoryGaming.com Hole Shot Award. Remember, he was entering 16 points down in the championship here tonight. Oh, what a time it would be for the number 23 machine to pick up his first career 250 main event victory as he leads the field into the whoops on the first lap. It's Shirley from Arico. Magnetti moving into 3rd place early on. That's huge in the championship. We'll have to find Cochran. I just saw a red plate flash through in the background. He is absolutely buried. So huge right now for Magnetti. He's going to try to get around Rico and maybe go with Shirley early on so these two can maybe establish a gap on the rest of the field and fight amongst each other for this race win. But it's Shirley who's going to come down and lead the first lap of the race. Seth Shirley, Boots House, number 23 Yamaha, over the line at the end of lap 1 out front. Rico, second place ahead of Magnetti in third. Got Ezra Lewis getting passed right there for fourth place as Dash McMillan slides down the inside. So McMillan, first main event we've seen for the 341. He's having a great run of it here early on as he moves into fourth. Lewis slides back into fifth with Pinkerton in sixth. He is getting together there with Trevor Spencer. Spencer's going to shoot through into that sixth position as Pinkerton goes back to seventh. Alex Kerr got that rhythm section wrong, almost gets landed on. And finally, our first sighting of Casey Cochran. Looks like he is showing up in about 10th or 11th spot. As they go over the Supercross triple, riders coming into the corner together. Cochran reads it very well and cuts back underneath. So how does the 20 machine respond? He's going to gain a couple more spots right there. Alex Kerr going to the outside, so Cochran inside here trying to go over, but doesn't get the line. Vanderbeek has to check up, and Kerr jumps off the side of the track, so Cochran moves into 8th position. But with Shirley leading, Magnetti in a good position. Oh, riders down as well. Man, Cochran is shooting, firing through the field here. He's up to 7th. And I think we had a change to the lead. Joey Arrico has gone to the front. So Arrico, fresh out of the amateur class, has moved up this week to race the Pro Series in the 250 West Division, leading in his first go here with MotoAction Suzuki. The 828 machine out front in Denver with Magnetti hot on his heels in second, as Cochran has already climbed his way into 7th, and we'll see how far he continues to go. So something must have happened to the 23 machine of Seth Shirley, because he's dropped back to 3rd. As Cochran now already up into 6th spot. This has been the MO for the number 20 machine this year. Even with those bad starts, he has been fantastic at charging forward and at least finding himself in the top 5 at every single round. That's why he's got the red plate, with only one win to his credit all the way back at the Triple Crown at Glendale. And now he is trying to keep Luke Magnetti from stealing it away from him here tonight. But Magnetti's in a great position early on. We still have a lot of racing left to go. 12 minutes still on the clock, plus that one lap added on to the end. And the story right now is Joey Arrico leading for the first time in his professional career. Wouldn't this be something to see the MotoAction Suzuki team end up atop the box here late in the season? Had a couple of his buddies in chat earlier that were stoked to see him out front. So I'm sure they'll be very glad to see him here again. But Magnetti is certainly putting the pressure on from behind and at least making Arrico think twice. It looks like Cochran may have had a little bit of problems because he's dropped a little bit off of where these guys were in terms of track position. Not sure if he's lost too many positions just yet, though. We'll have to look at the leaderboard as they come through this time by. Arrico 1 second lead from Magnetti, another 3 seconds back to Shirley. Pinkerton in 4th, Lewis 5th, and no, it is Cochran still in 6th, but he has lost time. He's only 17 seconds off of Arrico out front, and now Cochran slides back to 7th, so he just got passed again by Trevor Spencer. So Cochran, I mean, he's trying to play it safe, but I don't know. Maybe you got to start sending it a little bit here and help your own cause. Ooh, this is going to be a rough drive into the whoops. Wow, actually worked out very well for where he was around the inside of that corner and holds Trevor Spencer close. I think they both just went down around a downed rider for position as Cochran quads into the corner. This might be an opportunity to pass Trevor Spencer. Yeah, it will be. So Cochran into the top 5, and he will do himself a huge favor here if he can put some distance between himself and this battle behind him with Trevor Spencer in the mix. Johan Bordeaux, also another guy trying to keep his championship hopes alive tonight. Remember, he was 20 points back of Cochran entering this race. But Cochran in 5th right now. He's trying to limit the damage as best as he can. Oh, Joey Arrico has gone down with the race lead at the end of the rhythm section before the sand. And the way he was perched on top of that jump before the corner leads me to believe it had gone wrong well before that, and he crashed to that position. But that puts Luke Magnetti to the front, trying to win his 2nd consecutive 250 West round with a podium in between at the Atlanta East-West Showdown. Lap traffic will certainly start to play a bit of a factor. They are already deep inside of this lap traffic, and a couple more guys right in front of them here. Jack Gatlin is one of them. And you got, I think that's Tanner Thorson right behind him. Couldn't see who that was that went down in the whoops. But Shirley hit him. So Seth Shirley hits the 341 and goes down. Alec Horn punts the 341 off the track. And Rico went back by for second. Pinkerton now into third. And Shirley remounts in fourth. Cochran is still 3 turns behind these guys. So he is all alone in fifth place. Battle for second is brewing, though. Joey Arico trying to hold off Ryan Pinkerton on the 58 Adept Creative Co. Yamaha. Meanwhile, Pinkerton is trying to make this an Adept 1-2 with his teammate Magnetti leading the race here. And of course, the lap traffic, as I mentioned, really going to play a factor here as Pinkerton almost pulls alongside of Arico through the first rhythm section. They are trying to lap, is that Chris Post, I believe, on the 96 MXLocker.com machine. Yeah, it is Post right there. And alternate rhythm line for Pinkerton. Rico going defensive up the inside. Pinkerton's going to get a great drive into the sand right here. This is going to be for second place. And Pinkerton gets it. Rico goes down heavily coming into the next corner. And lap traffic aplenty. That is the 86 of Shields who was upside down in the berm. Oh, and Cochran just went down in fifth. So Bordeaux goes by, Spencer goes by, and Cochran's going to remount just as Cromie gets there. Cromie absolutely lays into Cochran. So Cochran, I think, just goes back to 9th position. But man, he had a door of opportunity right there with all those guys going down in a battle for second to close up, and suddenly he's going to lose even more points now as Magnetti has a 10-second lead on Shirley out front. All right, halfway point. Give you guys a quick rundown through the field here of all 22 riders at the halfway point of this 250 West main event in Denver. This is brought to you by the folks at R Jerky. Head over to eatrjerky.com and use the code SYS20. That's SYS20 for 20% off your order. And we thank the folks at R Jerky for continuing to support the stream all season long. Luke Magnetti, the Adept Creative Co. number 19 machine, out front here in Denver ahead of Seth Shirley, the Boots House number 23 in second. Ryan Pinkerton of the Adept team as well on the 58 machine runs in third. Johan Bordeaux has climbed all the way into fourth. The Frenchman on the Panini Motorsports number 40 trying to keep his championship alive going into the finale next week in Salt Lake City. Trevor Spencer, the BPC Kawasaki number 57, rounds out your top 5 in the early runnings here as Matt Cromie comes through in 6th on the Filski and Snowboard number 503. Maxime Vanderbeek is in 7th, but not for long as he gets put to the ground there by Casey Cochran. Cochran on that Adept Creative Co. backed by UndefinedLifestyle.com. Yamaha moves into 7th position as he tries to limit the damage. Maxime Vanderbeek into 8th on the Underground RC number 62 with Cody Cooper, heat race winner earlier on tonight on the iSpec number 312 in 9th. Joey Arico, MotoAction Suzuki rounds out our top 10 as we go back further through the field. It's Lucas Schwartner 11th, Carter Greer in 12th, Nygren in 13th, Holden Cody in 14th, Alex Kerr in 15th, Jack Gatlin in 16th. Can't do the positions right now for some reason. Chris Post in 17th, Ezra Lewis in 18th, Alec Horn 19th, Tyler Shields is in 20th, Sean Hambrook in 21st, and Dash McMillan will not finish this main event in 22nd. That's a run through the field brought to you by the folks at R Jerky. Getting down to crunch time here, a little over 5 minutes plus a lap left to go, and Magnetti has just about clicked into cruise control out front. Number 19 machine has a 9.9 second lead, which means he could afford to crash and still likely retain the lead, but we'll see. Seth Shirley, with this run right now in second place, will keep his championship hopes alive as he will watch the 12-point deficit to Magnetti balloon out to a 15-point deficit, but that is where the championship currently sits because Cochran is going to lose the red plate going into the finale, and we'll see by how much if things change down the stretch here with Magnetti starting to run into some more lap traffic yet again. So 4.5 to go. Shirley running in second. Pinkerton third. Bordeaux fourth. Spencer is in fifth, but here we go. Casey Cochran has been reeling in the 57 here for the last few laps, and now he is trying to make a pass back into the top 5. Going to swing wide, cut across, go to the inside into the next turn, and Cochran gets it done back into the top 5. So where he runs right now, that 5th position, as he... Oh, Trevor Spencer showed him a wheel right there. But that 5th position, good enough for 18 points. So he would lose as we run 8 points to his title rival there, Luke Magnetti, and it would go from a 4-point advantage to a 4-point deficit going into the final round. But of course, East-West Showdowns, man, they're crazy. Anything could happen at those races. Oh, Shirley goes down out of second. And Pinkerton sliding through now makes it an adept 1-2. I just saw Magnetti jumping off the track after the finish line jump, though. Lost a little bit of time in the process, but not too much. So Pinkerton's gap 10.8 behind. As Shirley's able to remount in 3rd place. So Magnetti, Pinkerton, and Shirley going through the first corner there. Bordeaux, and then Cochran. So Cochran is going to need some help at least to get to 4th. 11.5 seconds. He'll definitely need to crash out of Bordeaux. He did a 51.6 last time by. Got a 3-second advantage on Spencer, who did a 53.8. So Cochran did his best lap of the race on lap 13 right there. Trying to limit the damage as mentioned. And if he could get up to and pass Bordeaux, obviously it'd shuffle Bordeaux a little bit further back. But I think Bordeaux would still be mathematically alive going to the finale. We'll have to crunch the numbers after this. But it will help Cochran to close it down to just a 2-point deficit to Magnetti, which at that point pretty much becomes a whoever beats whom in the finale type of situation. So for Cochran's case, he's just hoping that something happens to Bordeaux ahead of him. Bordeaux actually just missed the finish line jump. Yeah. So Cochran suddenly sees the 40 machine as he goes over. It's down to 2.5 just like that. 2 minutes left on the clock. And Casey Cochran smelling blood in the water here, trying to close up on the Frenchman for this 4th position. Bordeaux dealing with more lap traffic. That's Chris Post again. They're kind of bouncing through the whoops a little bit. Not sure what happened to Bordeaux, but amount of time lost. I'd have to imagine it was a fall-off crash. Pretty simple lines, though, and these guys, that sand section is getting worn down. You can see them doing a little bit of line searching now as Cochran has lost a little bit more ground to Bordeaux ahead of him. That gap is ballooned back out as Seth Shirley goes through the first corner. Pinkerton has settled into 2nd place, and it's a 15-second advantage for this man out front with just over a minute left to go. So probably 3 to go because he'll go sub 1 minute this time, and it's a minute on the clock. So 3 to go for Magnetti, and it's been kind of a picture-perfect race for him after he's taken the race lead. No real mistakes to talk about. He's jumped off the track once, and that cost him a little bit of time, but otherwise he's held it pretty steady and is on his way to what I believe is his 3rd win of the season. Well, there's a mistake right there. There's a big mistake. Wow, Magnetti down in the whoops. So he's going to lose about 10 seconds right here, and the gap back to his teammate Pinkerton is going to come down from the 15 it was down to somewhere probably 6 or 7. Let's see, as Pinkerton exits the whoops, it's down to 7.9. 7.5 is looks like where it will settle, but that is dangerous now for Magnetti. He has another mistake, and suddenly door of opportunity swung wide open. Let's see, does he get white flag? No, he does not. White flag is not waving. He missed it by maybe a second. But 2 to go, and another mistake. Oh, but Pinkerton goes down now out of 2nd. So Pinkerton crashing in 2nd place, and that was Nygren. That wasn't even Shirley that was trying to avoid him, but Pinkerton also just made another mistake coming on the start straight, and suddenly Shirley closing that gap down very well. battle for second starting to brew, and Magnetti can breathe a big sigh of relief because he's not going to have any immediate pressure from behind. But for Shirley's case, he just wants to get around Pinkerton, who's not in this title fight, and maximize his points haul. What is happening here is, though, is if these guys get together somehow, as Shirley gets booted off the track a little bit by Vanderbeek, if any of these guys get together and go down, Cochran is not that far behind them anymore. Well, he just made a mistake after the whoops. White flag is waving for Magnetti out front. And Bordeaux dealing with a barrage of lap traffic. Now Seth Shirley cutting the track quite heavily right there, actually. So we'll see how that comes back to bite the 23 machine, as Ryan Pinkerton is now settled back into second place. Magnetti went down in the whoops again. So had these guys stayed on two wheels and not crashed, that would have been a change to the lead right there. But Magnetti affording himself enough time to get back up again, still in the race lead, now with 2 turns to go. And wow, got a little bit dicey late there, but this is going to turn out to be exactly what Magnetti needed. 1 turn to go, 3rd win of the season, and a big one. Your new championship leader, Luke Magnetti, wins tonight in Denver. His teammate Pinkerton will make it an Adept Creative Co. 1-2. Shirley upside down in the corner before the finish line jump, ends up going backwards across the track. Bordeaux steals a podium at the flag, and Shirley will cross in 4th. Cochran misses out by 3.2 seconds in the end in 5th place, but hey, something to keep of note. Remember, Shirley cut the track very heavily just after the white flag waved, so we'll have to see if that comes into play. Trevor Spencer ends up in 6th, Cromie 7th, Cody Cooper gets an 8th, Joey Arrico 9th, and Holden Cody rounds out the top 10. We're waiting on a couple guys to finish up. It was Gatlin, Vanderbeek, Horn, Greer, Kerr, Post, Schwartner, Nygren, Lewis, Shields, Hambrook, and McMillan, the rest of the runners throughout the field there. But I'm very keen to see what happens with Cochran and Shirley here and how that swings the tides a little bit more. No, it was not enough. Wow, Shirley only 1.1 of cuts right there. I thought there would be way more than that. All right, so got Magnetti getting the full 26, so he goes from 4 down to 4 up in the championship lead over Cochran going into the finale next week. Seth Shirley gains 2 points on Cochran, but loses, quick math, 7 points on Magnetti, your new championship leader. So he goes from 12 back of Magnetti to 19 back of Magnetti, still mathematically alive, but obviously a long shot. And Bordeaux goes from 20 back of Cochran, but he was 16 back of Magnetti. This time he loses another 5 points, so he is 21 back. So all 4 of those guys are still mathematically alive. The only thing that changed was we have a new championship leader, Luke Magnetti. Just like we saw in the 250 East Division, Tyron Tomic, that gap coming all the way down. Bryce Whelan winning last week in Foxborough, taking the championship lead now into the finale. Same thing happened here. Cochran had the championship lead all the way through, and now going into the finale, it's on a different man with it all to play for next week in Salt Lake City. Wow. Quite incredible turn of events in this late championship season for that 250 West Division, but that is why we dropped the gate. It is never a foregone conclusion that a big championship lead ultimately leads to a championship winning season. And for both Tomic and Cochran, they have to figure out how to regroup and go into this showdown and just hope that the tides swing their way. At least for Cochran's case, it is only 4 points, which, doesn't sound great to be down 4 points, but it's only 4, which means that basically, winning and anything worse than a 3rd place for Magnetti means that Cochran's the champ. So kind of controls the fate himself, right? And can pretty much win the title. But we'll see how it goes next week in Salt Lake City. Now, on to the fun drama in the 450 class. If you are just joining us, if you're just watching the replay back right now on YouTube, Braden Carter won last week in Foxborough, but oh no, he did not get the win. He was penalized 5 positions for cutting off the racetrack in the first corner. Very controversial decision by the Race Factor Gaming crew. But the two people that protested him were his championship rival, Alexis Leclerc, and fellow championship rival, Payson Johnson. So Leclerc protested Carter, and then Johnson protested Carter for the same infraction. Two different protests led to a 5-position penalty for Carter. So when he was ultimately going to be coming into this final 2 rounds with a double-digit championship lead on Leclerc after winning at Foxborough, ends up finishing 6th. Leclerc gets moved up to 3rd on the podium, pulls that championship lead back closer into his favor, and now it's only a 4-point advantage for Carter in the championship going into these final 2 rounds. And man, if you're with us in the heat races, it seems like there's a few people that are not on Carter's side right now that are certainly roughing him around on the racetrack. So we'll see whether or not that spills over into the main event or if we have a fresh slate. Either way, it does appear the gloves are off. Leclerc is not happy with the way that Carter has been racing this year. Carter's not happy with that protest whatsoever. And the two are ready to fight it out here tonight in Denver. There is Carter on the 1. Still has those red backgrounds on his field ski and snowboard Honda. Here is the other man in the mix right here, Alexis Leclerc on the number 7. Now, we also have to mention that Payson Johnson and Colby Eaglin are both still mathematically alive for the championship, but it is also very likely they are both eliminated tonight. It's basically as long as, Leclerc or Carter beat them, they would be mathematically eliminated. So we'll still talk about them. We'll see where they are championship-wise when it all is said and done at the end of the evening. But, of course, the key talking point is Carter versus Leclerc. Well, here we go, folks. We've made it to round 16 of this championship before things really started to get heated, and now they are fully heated and ready to boil over here tonight in Denver. What is going to happen? I can't wait to find out. Here we go in Denver. Not too bad of a start by Leclerc. Looks like Carter tried to swing it around the outside. He ends up off the track in the first corner again, but he's going to be shuffled back. It's Jacob Hubbard picking up the RaceFactorGaming.com Whole Shot Award. Leclerc down the inside goes into second place. We got somebody flipping across the track backwards, but this is the exact same replay of the heat race we saw earlier tonight. Hubbard gets the whole shot. Leclerc in second. Hubbard bouncing through the whoops a little bit right there. But this will be interesting to see if team tactics are in play because Hubbard is Carter's teammate. We'll see if he races Leclerc any different than he has all season long in this opening stanza. It is Jeremy Smith right there in third place on the number 4 SYS Racing Heckman Productions Honda, with Tyler Lang rounding out in fourth place behind these guys. We'll have to figure out where the championship leader Braden Carter is at the end of the first lap as they come through at the end of the first lap. It is still Hubbard leading from Leclerc. 4 riders pulling a bit of a train out front with Bob Joe coming through in 5th place. Gerst there in 6th. As things are starting to shuffle around, Johnson has moved into 7th now, so the 51 machine, a good start out of the LCQ. Leclerc already looking at an inside move there on Hubbard. Still have not seen the one scroll across the top of the screen just yet, so seeing him going the other way in the rhythm section, he is in 14th place, is your championship leader, Braden Carter. So Leclerc, just like we saw with Magnetti in the 250 main event, in a terrific position, at least championship-wise, early in this race, but the last thing you want to do is go down because you will be shuffled right back to that position where Carter is early on. Double triple through the sand, and you can see Leclerc is really putting the pressure on Hubbard, but man, Hubbard has turned up the pace here late in the season, and we'll see whether or not he is going to play the team player against Leclerc. Into the first corner, Leclerc swinging wide, but Hubbard defending the inside very nicely there. Jeremy Smith is lurking, by the way, and he would love to go to the race lead here in Denver if he can. So it looks like Carter's made a couple passes. He's now in some clean air up into 12th. As hopping through the whoops a little bit there, Hubbard defensive on the inside. Jeremy Smith just went down. Looks like he actually stayed on 2 wheels as he exited the whoops, but he's back into 4th now. It's Lang now into the final podium position, but this battle out front is still just absolutely going after it. Hubbard is trying to keep the Frenchman behind him, but Leclerc wants the lead, and he wants it now. On to lap number 4, once again over the finish line jump. Both of them scrub. Leclerc a little bit wider into the corner, then tries to tuck back off the turn. Getting great drive. Always seems to do very well with getting traction to the ground on that Yamaha. Look at this. Is this an inside move for the lead? Oh, little nudge. Doesn't work out, though. Hubbard gets it right back. So Leclerc, a little bit of a love tap there on Hubbard, and suddenly Lang is closed up into the picture. So while these two go at it, Carter's starting to slice and dice his way through the field. Look at the different line options right here. Leclerc's down! Leclerc's down off the side of the track. Here comes Carter across the start straight in the background. He might pass Leclerc. On, off, and Carter goes by. So now the two championship combatants running deep in the field together. Carter 9th, Leclerc back to 11th. Leclerc went for the quad out of the corner and just got it wrong, cased it off the side of the track and went down. Riders down over the finish line jump, everybody skirting by, and suddenly Leclerc versus Carter battling it out. They're now in 8th and 9th, I believe, respectively. And this is going to be spicy. We'll go up and check out the lead battle between Hubbard and Lang momentarily, because it's going to be good up there, but this is going to be absolutely insane back here when these two finally get together. Frank Jackson was down. Bob Joe off the side of the track. Leclerc sliding out. Leclerc sliding out allows his teammate through. There goes Colby Eagland. Back into 8th for Leclerc. Carter up into 5th now, running away. So let's go to the lead real quick. Hubbard and Lang battling it out front while the championship chaos kicks off behind these guys. Lang has been slowly reeling in Hubbard, who had a little bit of a breath of some fresh air there for a second before it started to tighten back up behind him again. And Carter is doing a terrific job under pressure here after a bad start to recover well. He's now just 9 seconds off the race lead, and I think he's actually been the fastest rider on the track these last few laps. We'll do a lap time check this time through to see where everybody's at as Hubbard comes down to lead on to lap number 7. 15 minutes still left in this main event. 50.6 out of Jacob Hubbard, your race leader. A 50.6 right behind him. T. Lang in second. They're matching pace out front. Jeremy Smith at a 51.2 in third. Tanner Rogers at a 50.8 on a 350, and Carter goes 59.4 in 5th. Anybody else in the 49s? Excuse me. No. Carter just set fastest lap of the race out of 5th position as he's trying to pass his teammate Tanner Rogers ahead of him. He's got some teammate help here. Rogers is a teammate. Hubbard's a teammate. Carter's going to swing to the right side, and Rogers kind of made that easy for him. So up into 4th goes Carter. Next up for him would be Jeremy Smith as the battle for the lead continues. Lang has been putting that pressure on Hubbard. And Hubbard finally starting to make a few mistakes here and there. Into the first corner, Lang around the outside. Not going to work this time through. But they're still almost side by side going through this first rhythm section. Wow, very close. And look at the slide right there out of Hubbard. Oh, they get together. Lang, nice save. Kind of got lucky with the bounce. Doesn't lose too much time in the end. Oh, man, hopping through the whoops kind of awkwardly there. So now Carter has just disposed of Jeremy Smith, and he is into 3rd place. So Carter, essentially at this point, has said, all right, you're going to play those games. We're going to do this. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm just going to go faster than everybody. And that is certainly one way to get it done here. And what a win this would be if he could fight back and catch his teammate Hubbard out front. Let's go back to Leclerc. He's just passed Bob Joe. He is now into 5th position. And Leclerc is running 50.7s. So 50.7, he did a 50.5 for his best. But of course, Carter's time and what he's laying down up there is kind of the key catalyst in this fight between these two right now. So up to 5th, 5.4 back of Jeremy Smith. So he's about 6 seconds right now down of Carter. They go through this rhythm section here. Lang is starting to slip into the clutches of Carter as well. He's kind of lost the toe a little bit of our race leader Hubbard. Man, we are not even halfway through this main event yet. 2 seconds in it between Hubbard and Lang. 5 seconds off the lead now is Carter. Leclerc 12 off the lead. And I mean, you know, Carter, he goes down. He's behind Leclerc again. We'll have to fight back forward to repass the Frenchman. This is not a foregone conclusion that he's just going faster, and that's how it's going to be. Hubbard still leads this race, but he just made another little bobble right there. 50.2, 49.7. Lang upped his pace. 49.9 for Carter, so a couple guys in the 49s. And Leclerc dipped his toes into the 49s and 49.7 last time through as he works on reeling in Jeremy Smith. So the battle for the lead looks like it's the one that's tightening up the most. Leclerc's got the gap down to 11.9, so under 12, whereas Carter is now under 4. Behind this battle starting to brew for the race lead, and you can see Carter continuing to sneak into the picture every now and again. Lap traffic doing a terrific job getting out of the way, letting this entire chaotic fight just play out on its own. Wow, Tyler Lang jumping off the track and still electing to quad right there. Yeah, man, he's closing that gap up on Hubbard. 49.4 resets his best lap of the race. Hubbard off the track. Carter down the inside for the lead. Not close enough. Wow, and Johnson, you guys are telling me, did a 48.6. So he's doing the quad surely in the first rhythm section. And Hubbard under attack out front. So as these two start to fight each other, that's going to allow Carter to close up a little bit. Dooley's over the triple, by the way. Oh, Hubbard off the track, and Lang goes to the front. So aside from all the chaos with this championship fight, these two have just gone almost flawless at the front, and now Lang gonna lead the way through here in Denver. So Lang to the front onto lap 13. Hubbard settling into second. Carter into third now, and Leclerc has lost some ground. He's lost some ground to Jeremy Smith. He had been gaining time, then did a 57.3. So he will remain in fifth place. And right now, Carter's best friend is this gentleman right here, Jeremy Smith, who still narrowly holds the record for most combined 250, 450 motocross, supercross victories in Race Hard Gaming history. Leclerc's been chipping away at it, but it doesn't look like tonight is going to get any closer. So Smith is going to try to hold on to this fourth and maybe try to get a little bit more. Battle for the lead on again, and Hubbard's going to get back to the front. Lang made a mistake going into the sand. And a change to the lead happens again. So as these two continue to go back and forth, Carter's going to start really sensing the opportunity. It's now down to under 2 seconds to Lang ahead of him. And the front three are about to engage in a three-rider battle for the race lead. So Leclerc is going to be hoping that this battle turns into a bit of a crashing battle as well. 49.4 last time through for Carter. Track is certainly weathering in quite nicely. A lot of different rhythm options for these guys as well. And hopping through the traffic here a little bit is Carter's going to get held up a little bit. Lang had to high center in the corner a bit after singling in. And let's see what they all run this time through as Lang is under attack from Carter. 50 flat, 51.6, 50 flat for Hubbard out front. And Carter is firmly on Lang for second now. So Hubbard has a little bit of breathing room to work with out front. The battle for second is really the close one at this point in time. And Jeremy Smith still occupies fourth place, but Leclerc has certainly started to bring that gap down. But man, Carter putting the pressure on Lang. 3 seconds in it between Smith and Leclerc. Carter alternate rhythm line. Let's see if it works. He's going to try to go inside and hit this rut. Oh, so close. But now Lang is starting to up his pace again, and I wonder if that's going to push them both up to Hubbard. Hubbard, 50.2, 49.3. T-Lang resets his best lap of the race, and then a 49.9 out of Carter. So both of them were faster that time through than Hubbard, but Lang just went faster than all of them except for Johnson, I believe, in terms of raw lap time. We have Trevor Burns playing a little bit of bad lapper right now on the 28. Not quite getting out of the way just yet of Carter. And wow, then gets into Carter. So Carter going to lose touch with this battle a little bit because of the contact there with Burns. And now Carter has to try to fight back. Now Lang just made a mistake as well. Wow, Jacob Hubbard might be on his way to his first 450 win of his career if things are starting to play out the way that they are. Lang continues to make some small mistakes. Carter, he's gotten shuffled back a little ways as well. And Leclerc has gotten Jeremy Smith for 4th. So Leclerc is into 4th place. It is a 11-second gap up to Carter ahead of Leclerc. So if Carter goes down, he would still barely retain this 3rd position, but the battle would certainly be on between these guys. And we got 6 minutes left to figure out who's going to win this race and whether or not Carter's going to crash his way back to Leclerc, or will Leclerc start chipping away a little bit at Carter, and then a small mistake for Carter is all it would take. Oh, Carter nose heavy on the sand right there. 54.5 last time by, so a bit of a rough spell for him. A 50 flat. Now 51.3 Lang and a 50.8 Hubbard. Hubbard's at a 2-second advantage over Lang, who is pushing, trying to close that gap back down as we are approaching the final 5 minutes of action here. Who is going to win this main event? We've had a little bit of a lull these last couple of weeks of not really any, intense close racing down to the flag. We've had a couple runaway winners of late. If you go back to that stretch there, Daytona, Indy, Detroit, we had some of the best races in MX Simulator history in a 3-race sequence, and we might be in line for yet another one of those here tonight. As another mistake out of Hubbard, and Lang is chipping that gap down. Carter also chipping the time down to Lang. He's going to jump off the track a little bit right there, so that'll cost him a fraction of time. As Leclerc closed the gap down, no, it's extended, 13.2. So he is not matching pace, 50.2, a 49.3 again out of Carter. 50 flat Lang, 50.8 Hubbard. Gap is coming down. Look at how deep that rut is getting onto the table, or over in Lang's case right there. Lang is still electing to go for this quad line into the corner. I think it's marginally faster, but also a little bit riskier because you have to get the triple in clean and not OJ or case even a little bit the quad, or else you have an instant fall off. So I actually like Hubbard's situation here with what he's doing with that line, because he can play defensive as well with it, but Lang is pushed up to his back tire, and now it's less than a second in it in a battle for the race win in Denver. 3.5 minutes on the clock, plus that lap. We are down to a dash to the line here to decide the winner of round 16 of MotoOption Supercross. Lang is closing ever so slightly. We got a lap rider going down behind these guys, going to block Carter a little bit. Actually, Carter must have went down because that gap is well opened up behind him. And suddenly Leclerc is not too far back. So that'll get a little bit dicey for 3rd place, or maybe these two get together. And suddenly we have a 4-rider fight for the win as Lang shows a wheel. Hubbard off the track, and Lang goes to the front. So Hubbard got the finish line jump wrong. Now Lang's getting this rhythm section wrong. Still gets the double in fine. But Lang has taken over the race lead. Now Hubbard, can he fight back? He's still looking for his first career victory. And you guys are telling me crazy stuff about Payson Johnson, so we'll see. He did a 48.4, and you guys are saying he's not even doing the quad anymore. So he's up to 5th. He's 3.4 back of Leclerc. And Leclerc is 7 back of Carter. So Johnson at this point is absolutely just shredding right now. But I just don't want to leave this battle for the lead because it's still so close, and there goes Hubbard. High centers into the corner. It's not a legs off crash, so he's only going to lose about 4 seconds. But is that the gap that finally Lang can establish to take this thing all the way to the flag? Another cased finish line jump there for Hubbard. Allows Carter to close that gap down a little bit. So Johnson will go back on board with him. Just watch the man do his magic here. So he's going to go 49.5 as he's pushing up to Leclerc here. That just doubles in, triples, does it smoothly, triples again. Like, he's literally scrubbing that triple out of the corner, which most people are seat bouncing. Gets right on top of those whoops, super clean. This is a tremendous lap, and then he's going to quad in right here. Yeah, and like kind of easily. So quad, double to the inside by the looks of it. And then double into the sand. Still kind of pops the triple. It's a little bit weird, but man, this lap is a burner, and they've caught Lang. So Lang has gone backwards even more. 48.2, by the way, out of Johnson. And yes, this is Lang with Carter. What? Hubbard's back to the lead. We have Carter, Lang, and Leclerc nose to tail with Johnson at the tail end of him. So Carter and T-Lang went down. Lapped riders in the way. They're all stood up in the corner. They all come to a dead stop. Carter's able to sneak away, get a little bit of breathing room now on Lang as Leclerc closes up. And time is about to expire as it's really kicked off here. Suddenly Carter is a bit of a sitting duck for all of these guys pushing up behind him and doing some really solid lap times. But four of the fastest riders on the track right now all together, and they're not even winning the race. That's Jacob Hubbard out front still. Wow, this could get incredible. So Carter put in a pretty good lap right there to just get a little bit more breathing room on Lang. So it is Carter, Lang, Leclerc, and Johnson. And Johnson is, I think, trying to push Leclerc at this point. Gap down to 9. So if Hubbard goes down, he's going to be suddenly right in this mix as well. Carter threw the tough blocks right there off the side of the track. Hubbard making a few mistakes here. I mean, it's certainly tightened up. 8.3, but he is honestly playing it safe. White flag in the air. Jacob Hubbard trying to win his first career 450 main event and lead home his teammate to a field ski and snowboard 1-2 finish. But it's not over yet. Leclerc has been passed. Johnson is up into 4th place, trying to go to 3rd on Lang. So Carter, I think, at this point, really just wants to settle for 2nd. And I hope, fingers crossed, hope that there's not going to be team tactics involved as Lang gets it wrong and Johnson goes to 3rd. And Leclerc down the inside shows Lang a nose. Nothing doing just yet. 2 corners to go. First time in his career. This will be a huge one for him. Over the double, to the line. Jacob Hubbard wins the Denver Supercross. His teammate Carter will make it a Phil's 1-2. And Johnson comes all the way home to get 3rd. Lang versus Leclerc arguing with one another to the flag. Lang will get the position. Leclerc ends up 6/10 down. Lang did cut the corner a little bit there at the end, so we'll see whether or not cuts come into play here. But at least for the time being, Carter has without question extended his championship lead going into the finale. You have Eagland coming across here in 6th. He will mathematically be eliminated from the championship as Jeremy Smith crosses the line in 7th. Janice will pick up an 8th, Castellaneta 9th, and Bob Joe, everybody's favorite rider on the track, picks up a top 10 here tonight. Behind them, Whelan gets 11th, Jackson, Frazaka, Hall, Gerst, Blakely, McIntosh, Haley, Turner, Burns, Rogers, and Adams was the running order. Anything change up here? No, it did not. Jacob Hubbard, the big winner tonight in Denver. And quick math to try to figure out this championship situation. So you got Carter finishing 2nd, Leclerc finishing 5th. I'm going to pull up the Race Factory website. We're going to take a look at the standings real quick before we send you guys on your way. And just do a little bit of math. All right, so coming in, 4-point advantage for Carter over Leclerc. Leclerc, who crossed the line there in 5th, only gets 18 points to the 23 that Carter gets. It is out to a 9-point advantage for Carter going into the finale. 9 points separate the top two in the championship. Eagland and Johnson, despite their podium results, or their great results tonight, not podium, but Johnson got on the podium. Eagland ended up in 6th. Both now have mathematically been eliminated from the championship. So crazy night of racing. Got close in the end there, but of course, our big winner on the evening is Jacob Hubbard. So 9 points in it, folks. 9 points separate Braden Carter and Alexis Leclerc going into the championship showdown next week in Salt Lake City. We also have 2 championships to decide, both in the East and the West. They have not been figured out yet either. So the East-West showdown will be absolutely bonkers next week in Salt Lake City as well. So you guys will not want to miss the final round of MotoOption Supercross from Salt Lake City. Same time, same place, next Wednesday at 6:15 p.m. Pacific. That's 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Please be here because it is going to be so fun to figure out these 3 championships going into that finale. Well, big shout out to all of you guys for tuning in tonight. We had over 300 live viewers again for that main event. So thanks guys for tuning in. Shout out to Race Factory Gaming and the Race Factory Gaming track crew for putting on this series and of course building this track. Big shout out to all the sponsors that back this series as well. MotoOption Clothing, Race Tech Suspension, Philski and Snowboard, Underground RC, Tiger Designs, and everybody else also involved over there with Race Factory Gaming. And of course, our sponsors all involved with us this year. MX Locker, Hansen Clutch Components, and R Jerky all backing the stream. So thanks so much to them, and thanks so much to you guys. This has been round 16 of MotoOption Supercross from Denver. Next week at Salt Lake City, the showdown and the finale is on, and we look forward to seeing you guys then. So long for now.